Tally ho, boys, and welcome back to Build with the Boys. We now have issue 8 of Hachette to build the Lancaster bomber. I really enjoyed the last one. In this one, we are doing details for the cockpit, and we've got a nice piece, a big piece of metal in this one. We're not doing loads with that piece. We're just adding some windows to it, but we're adding some more detailing, that already nice detailing, to the cockpit. So this looked really nice by the end of this one. We are starting our weird weapons of war at the end of this one. We are talking about Panjandrum. The bloody hell is that, Scott? Well, you'll find out at the end if you don't know. It's a fascinating story, and it's something that I think it could have been great. It just wasn't. But we'll have that conversation at the end. But without further ado, let's get this one open. Let's get this one built. Okay, so let's take a look what comes inside this one. So we've got some windows, we've got some levers, panel there, and we have a large piece of metal. There we go. So I can already see we're going to put some windows in here. That's good. So we'll be using the micro crystal clear for that. We also have these components here as well. So I don't think we're doing a lot with this. I think we're just adding windows to this. We'll move that to one side for now. Let's find out what we are using and where we are working. So yeah, so we're using the cockpit assembly that we were already working on. So let's move this over. It's using this assembly here. Okay, and we need, right. So let's empty our pieces into the box. Then we've got a little work tray. I will say this, the detail on this Lancaster is bloody superb. I mean, for a lot of, ultimately, what you're not going to see, I mean, you can lift the lid off and have a look inside, but I mean, still the view's going to be quite obscured from a lot of angles, but they've not skimped on any detailing at all. The detailing's been superb, it really has. Right, so let's look at what we're dealing with first. So that'll be this panel here, and this is going to go into this section here. So there's I see, this is definitely going to need glue in this one. So there's a slice here, and this is going to sit in there, but there's no way that's going to sit in there alone. So we're definitely going to need to apply some glue to this. Oh, I say that. Yeah, I'm full of it. It's actually really, really snug. Yeah, that's not going anywhere. That's not going anywhere. Okay, that had me completely surprised there. Okay, so that one's in. I know some of you are probably freaking out and not gluing everything in, but you don't need to. This is, if it was like an Airfix or a Revel kit or something like that, you definitely need to. This is a lot of push to fit, and it is snug. If it wasn't, if I thought for 1 second something wasn't snug, I'd glue it. But I'm not gonna glue for the sake of gluing. If that makes sense. So we have to, right, which one is, two parts are very similar here. Right, so it's that one. Or is it Transit 08i? The auction economizer. That's this one here. That's going to go just below where we just put this in. So there is a, yeah. So that way around. This is where the massive hands are going to cause me a nuisance. Again, that's so snug in there. I've just had to really push that down to get that in. So that's in. As I said, none of these parts are going anywhere. So that's that one. Okay. Now it looks like we have something to build here. We do. So we've got a part to put together. So taking this piece here, I'm going to take the controls here, and there is a peg on the bottom. I'm going to push this down and get this to fit together. That's the theory. I can't see how though. That looks like it looks like it's way too thick to do that. Yep, that's it. That's got it. So it goes on like an angle. So you can see how that is. Lovely. Now bringing this back over. We are going into these two holes here and here. And we are going this way around. But again, it's fat and thin. So it's only going to go in one way. So, I mean, if you're building it along, you can trial and error this. But this is the way around it's going. But I mean, the good thing, with, like I said, with fat and thin lugs, it's only going to go one way. And you can hear there with those creaks, and you really got to push this down to get it in. So again, that's nice and firm, nice and snug. Look at all this detail. This is beautiful, right? I think this is looking absolutely great. It's starting to come alive now, you know. Okay, so what next do we have? We have this piece here. And this, again, has a half moon lug. So it's only going to go one way, and it's going to go this way around. Now I can see I'm going to drop this because of my massive hands. I'm going to try and fish it out. Oh, no. Okay. Beat myself about my enormous hands too much. So that's in. Lovely stuff. That's looking so nice. There's so much detail on this now. Okay, next we have a frame here. This is going to go just in there. That seems like it's going to be a weird fit. No, it's not a weird fit. That fits perfectly. There we go. And it's nice and snug to that part. These wires, this detail, this looks gorgeous. So nice. So nice. The detail on this is absolutely superb. But that is all we're working on for this part, for this issue. So we can put this to the side for now. Because the next thing we're doing is we are bringing our piece of the fuselage over here. We're going to attach port windows to it. So we're going to turn this over. And I'm just going to dry fit these to begin with. See how we are. But then I am going to apply some of the microcrystal clear to it. It's the smaller of the two. It's got on the left hand side here. That's going to fit in there. And the larger of the two, it's going to go that way around. And that's going to fit in there like so. So when we turn it around, that's how we're going to be looking. So that's how our windows will be. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some microcrystal clear just to support this. Now the reason we use microcrystal clear is because there's no fog at all to the glass, and that's what we want. So let me grab that and we'll get that ready. So yeah, you can see I've added some microcrystal clear. Tiny amount, and again it's going to look horrendous when I push these down and it squeezes, but dries clear. You're never going to see it, but it will dry clear, and it holds bloody firm as well. So it is, I swear by it. No fog to your windows, no fog to your glass. You don't get any of that kind of horrible build-up happen. But it will hold these really firm, and it dries. You will never see any of this white. It dries completely clear. And that's how that's looking. So that's our finished part there. And then we have our cockpit detail in here. And that is all there is to do in stage 8. Let's have a chat. It's all done. And I mean, I can show you now because it's dried now. The micro crystal clear. I always want to call it icy crystal clear, and I know why. That's from something else. But it's all dry now. If I can find the bloody thing which I just had in my hands that I know is on the desk, I could show you the windows. How have I managed to lose something that was literally just in front of me? It's a skill, that, people. It's a skill. And not many people have got it. But I have. It'll never make me rich, but it will make me frustrated. What have I just done with that? It's a hulking great lump of metal, and somehow I've managed to lose it. This is what I mean about how bad my eyes are getting. But it's I can't find it. It's dry now, and there it is. It was under something else. So now it's dry, you can see. No white at all. But these are firm as hell. These aren't going anywhere. These are snug as you like. That's not moving. It's not going anywhere. And that is why I use micro crystal clear. If you are just sticking around for build instructions, thank you for stopping by. If you're sticking around for our weird weapons of war, we're talking about Panjandrum. What is that? Right, well, it became very apparent very soon that a lot of World War II battles were going to be won and lost on beaches. So beach defences were going to be a big thing, much as they were in England. So in England, you had the Home Guard were preparing the beaches in case they came here. They were preparing the beaches, so we were putting barbed wire and great big barricades and concrete blocks and everything we could do just to make that beach a bloody nightmare. Should anyone try to get up it, it's not going to be like you ain't just going to stroll up the beach. We're going to be waiting for you. At the same time, the Axis were doing the same thing in the beaches of Normandy and all around the coast of Europe. So it became apparent, if they're going to have to raid by sea, how are we going to do that? Because the whole thing was, right, anyone that gets off these boats is dead. That's what's going to happen. There's no way we can land on these shores. They're just going to rip through us with machine gun fire before they even get any far. And we know that is kind of what happened. So a theory came in that we need a weapon that we can clear beaches. But what would that weapon be? Now, in modern warfare, drone warfare is very common. Back then, that wasn't a thing. It wasn't a concept. It wasn't a thing. Drone warfare wasn't really something, that had been considered. I mean, we'd only had manned flight for a few decades at this point. But the theory of kind of the world's first drone comes from here. What could they use to send up the beach to wipe out the defences? Another one was also to trigger any kind of landmines or anything that might have been buried there. So there was a theory at one point, this is true, it didn't gain much legs, of cattle. Could you drop the cattle out the back of a landing craft, as in cows, bulls, horses, and send them up the beach to detonate, mines and stuff. I know it sounds barbaric, but again, it's a practice that was used. They used dogs to clear mines. It's wrong, but they did. Could that be used? No, not really, because again, it's a stupid idea, real quick, because one, cattle is not going to run at machine gun fire, right? It's going to run the opposite way, isn't it? So all you've just done now is unleash a load of cattle on the beach. So then there was an idea of, could we armour them? Armoured cows, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, times of war lead to desperate ideas. But even if you did armour these animals in bulletproofing, they're still not going to run towards machine gun fire. They're going to run away from it. So that was a stupid idea, and it was done quickly. We're like, that's not going to work. So then the idea was, well, it shouldn't just be something to trigger mines. It should be something that can get past mines and attack their defences. So we could do that first, then land with people. So what was it going to be? Well, the idea came up for the Panjandrum, which is a weird looking thing. And it looks like this. So that thing is massive as well, right? This is what got to make clear here. That is huge. And it was going to be big enough to hold 1,000 kilos of explosives, right? That's a lot. So you get an idea of how big this thing is. And it's a wheel. I mean, that's essentially what it is. It's a wheel. Now, the weirdest choice about the Panjandrum is, you might think that's all like a steel construction. It isn't. So the barrel in the middle that was carrying the payload, that was where the explosive was. That was metal. The spokes are metal. The wheel itself is wood. So it was like a solid oak wheel. Weird choice, but that's what they went with. They went with wood, but it's, again, it was the materials available at the time, and that was what they settled on. So how is this thing ever going to work? Well, the theory behind the Panjandrum is that on a landing craft, you could pull the door down and let it go. And if you could get this thing to work, it would travel up the beach, it would detonate mines if that was the case. But at the same time, if it detonated a mine, the payload inside it would detonate as well. So you could have the payload packed with ball bearings, nails, whatever you wanted. When that went off, poof, it's coming that way. Would it do a lot of damage? Probably not, but it might. So this was the whole idea. It could clear a mine and then also cause some devastation in the process. If it got past those defences, which the theory behind it would be that it would, when it eventually got to the barricade walls, it would then detonate. So you got 1,000 kilos of explosive going to go off, and it's going to cause a serious impact. They settled on 1,000 kilos because the idea behind it was that was what was needed to make a tank-sized hole. So then you could drive tanks up and through. That was the whole idea. It was like, it needs to be enough explosive that it's going to make that big an impact, you could drive a tank through it. It's gnarly, right? So I know it looks stupid. You're looking at it and it looks like a big bloody wheel, and you're thinking, well, how is that ever going to work? Well, again, the theory behind it is solid. It genuinely is. I mean, when I first looked at this, I thought that's ridiculous, and started reading more up on the story and researching it, thinking, there's actually genius in the madness. There is. You think, I get it. I get it that, before sending all these men out there, you could have sent a couple hundred of these things, and the Germans would have been terrified. The Reich would have been. I mean, imagine seeing that. You would never see one of these things before. I'm like, what the bloody hell is that? And all of a sudden, these wheels are just firing up the beach towards you, exploding, and it would be terrifying. But it didn't really work, and we'll go into why it didn't really work in the next issue. So tune in for that one. It's going to be fun. It's a fascinating story. It really is. It's a very interesting story. That's all for me for now. In a world where you can be anything at all, just be nice. You can contact us at buildingtheboys@outlook.com. But until next time, stoke me a kipper skipper. I'll be back for breakfast.